You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's showtime. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's showtime. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time.
Welcome. Oh, it's the day before the preview episode, and I guess the day after the review episode. I've already lost count. My map isn't mapping right now. But to everyone who is joining us on the live and watching us after the fact, be it on YouTube, wherever you get your videos from, and then listening on Spotify, Apple Music, all the good stuff. Make sure to give us a share, like, and subscribe to the channel or on the various podcast platforms. If you're feeling generous, give us a subscription on patreon.com/Go Time Dolphins. Charlie Touche, how are you?
It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche. I got my co-host, Kadeem Simmons, with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast. Yeah, man. We had a fun little episode ready to go for us today. And we wanted to just talk about fandom and what it's like to be a Dolphin fan and the highs and lows, the ups and downs. And I'm sure we'll get into that. But off the top, I do think we should address what's going on, just hot off the press, which is Miami Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill's home caught fire today. And it wasn't like a little small fire. It was a massive fire. Turns out everyone's well, everyone's safe, and no one is injured. Reportedly, Tyreek Hill pulled out of his complex, and someone seen him, and he said, "Hey, everyone's good, dog. Y'all go home." So hopefully, if that is true, then that's the best result you can hope for.
Yeah, definitely. Where was you when you heard the news about the fire?
So I work night shift, Kadeem. So I had just woke up and seen the notifications as they were coming in. So it was like Tua was about to step to the podium, and that's where I caught up on everything, like what's going on here.
So it's not a funny situation, obviously. We're glad that no one's hurt, all that kind of stuff. But it breaks on Twitter. Tyreek Hill's on fire. And, the first thing is Tyreek Hill in the building? No, he's not. Cool, fair enough. Then, again, news comes out that no one's hurt, everyone's safe. Great, fair enough. One news channel is live streaming it on Twitter, and I want to get them correct. Let's not give them their flowers, as the young kids say. WSVN7 News, is that a local news station?
Yeah, that's the Miami station, one of the Miami stations, news stations.
Cool. So yeah, they are literally live streaming the Tyreek Hill's house, all that good stuff. Have you seen any of the photos? Have you seen any of this?
Yeah, the videos and everything.
Yeah. So as the live streaming, people notice something. There's Tyreek Hill there, but he's in a walking boot. And at this point, the Miami Dolphins UK WhatsApp group just goes into absolute meltdown, no pun intended. Everyone's like, is Tyreek Hill injured? How bad's the injury? Why isn't the injury boot? Walking boot, all this kind of stuff. And then you kind of get into Twitter detective mode. It's like, okay, are there any photos of him from practice today? Was he walking? Okay, all that good stuff. Right now, as far as we know, he's fine. He showed up on the injury report. He was limited in practice on Wednesday, it looks like half the roster. But yeah, it just said Tyreek Hill, where's his name gone? Ankle/personal limited Wednesday participation. Should we be worried about Hill's ankle beat? It's Wednesday when the game is on Sunday.
Bro, this is not news though. Tyreek Hill missed the whole game because of an ankle. So, and I want to be clear, and we're going to differentiate from the fire and the ankle. He was at practice when he found out about the fire and left practice to go home. So if someone seen him on the news or something in a walking boot, he has a bad ankle. And even during the game, it was clear that his ankle wasn't 100%. I want to say the Dallas game, he was still limping. The man's nursing the injury. So the fact that he's in a walking boot trying to get his ankle right should not like set off any alarms. Pardon any pun. But you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, it shouldn't set off any alarms. He's trying to get back right. We just got smacked by the Ravens, and we have a all or nothing game. Not really an all or nothing game against Buffalo, but he's trying to get right. I don't think clearly the fire and the ankle had nothing to do with each other.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, it was you obviously see him play the majority of the game against the Ravens on Sunday. I don't remember him going down, him going out injured or anything like that. But then to see him a few days later in a walking boot, and I think it's just Miami fans just like it can only be bad news right now. But yeah, as far as we know, Tyreek Hill is good. He's okay, and like you said, it's a long-standing ankle injury. We know he's been hurt, and it's probably just a precaution. Shout out to Robert Ashton in the chat. He says, "Hi everyone. Anybody know how to read a playbook?" And then said, "Glad everyone was okay," referring to Tyreek Hill's house fire. But yeah, it's 4 days away from the Buffalo Bills game, and it does just seem like Miami fans are just in a panic, and it's understandable given all the injuries and everything at the moment.
Bro, Kadeem, so I heard a stat, and I couldn't even believe it. I was like, "There's no way." From what I understand, and these numbers are pretty accurate. I want to say Lamar Jackson went 18 for 21, maybe, and he only had 3 incompletions and 5 touchdowns. He had a perfect passer rating against the Miami Dolphins. And this is the 3rd time he's had a perfect passer rating in his career, and only 3 other quarterbacks have done it, and all 4 of them have done it 3 times. It is the wildest stat. So with that being said, I said it right after the game, if you're going to make Lamar Jackson look like 1994 Steve Young, it's always going to be a problem because Lamar Jackson doesn't always look like that. If Lamar Jackson always look like that, he'll be better than Patrick Mahomes. Let's be clear. You know what I'm saying? Because now he can run. He has the running ability, and then he's hitting 5 touchdowns and 3 incompletions. But that's not the end of it, Kadeem. The end of it is Huntley came in and had a perfect passer rating and a touchdown as well against the same Miami Dolphins defense. So a little bit of the, pump the brakes when everybody say Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in the league. Now you can say that. This is cool. It's fair. Cool. I got it. You got to take it. I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like, yo, so what about Huntley coming in and having a perfect passer rating and scoring a touchdown on us too, right? So nah, bro. Yeah, the defense was not the defense, and it was the perfect storm. When you have a quarterback that's going to come in and make you look like trash, and you play like trash, it's just that's the result. So it was the aftermath of, well, what do we do now? You know what I'm saying? Kadeem, when I met you, bro, and I'm like, dang, bro, you a legit Dolphin fan. You have gone through some of the anxieties and the angst of a Dolphin fan. You know what I'm saying? How do you handle that as a Dolphin fan? I talked to Sherrod Steve, and we kind of cracked the joke like, yo, we need therapy. And I'm like, I'm dead serious. Like, it's a real thing. And not to make any light of any mental health issues, because I'm pretty sure you can take sports too far as a fan and it gets overboard. I can't tell you how to be a fan. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell you to protect your peace. You know what I'm saying? If you want to go overboard, and that's what fan is short for, fanatic. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to be a fan and you fan like you fan, that's cool. But I gotta believe, bro, like you gotta draw the line somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And I'll give you an example, Kadeem, like people on the internet that go after athletes, kids, and families and livelihoods. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, yeah, you could fan. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, where do you draw the line? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. I was having this conversation about a different sport, but at the end of the day, and I guess some fans don't want to hear this, but this is a job for those guys. Like, it's probably one of the greatest jobs you can get, but it's still a job. And some days you go to your job, and for whatever reason, things just don't work out. And for the Miami Dolphins defense on Sunday, it just did not work out, which is why Lamar Jackson had the game he had. It's why Tyler Huntley came in and had the game he had. Obviously, and there's always going to be fans, regardless of the situation, regardless of the result, who are going to take things way overboard. You know, they're going to, and you know, the different levels of overboard. Like you said, there's the ones who take social media saying, blow this team up. Vic Fangio had to go. Mike McDaniel had to go. Tua needs to go. All that kind of stuff. And then, like you said, there's the ones who start making personal attacks on players and their families. I think Tyreek Hill had to turn off his either notifications or his comments on his like Instagram over the weekend because it just got so bad. And this is someone who has had like an MVP level season. So if there's people having to go at him because of what one drop in it and the fact that the Dolphins lost, it goes way too far. Just before I continue, you spoke about Lamar Jackson, his perfect passer rate, and all that kind of stuff. Josh Allen, when we played Buffalo earlier this season, went 21 for 25, 320 yards, 4 touchdowns. Perfect passer rating. The Dolphins are giving up 2 passer ratings, 9 touchdowns, and like so many yards in 2 games. And this is a defense which it can hold anyone to like, you know, 10, 9 points, 17 max. But when it poops the bed, it can really poop the bed. And I think that's another reason why Dolphin fans on Sunday and even on Monday were like, the season's done. To be fair, we had a conversation off air after our episode on, was it Monday, New Year's Day? I'll say it here. I was like, I think our season's done. With all the injuries, Buffalo coming to Miami, I was like, Buffalo going to win. We're going to go in the road to Kansas City. If we're getting all the injuries, season's done. And in the aftermath of a game like that, it's difficult to see the light at the end of the tunnel, which is why when you said, let's have a therapy session, let's, you know, get everything out in the open, essentially head into Buffalo as positive as possible, it sounded like the best idea that you've had ever, because right then I needed to hear that basically.
Nah, hey, for real. Like, let's be real. Sometimes you need to, bro. I call it an intervention. You know what I'm saying? And it was once upon a time there was a window where I had all kind of hopes for the Dolphins, and I was a huge fan, and it was unhealthy. It was an unhealthy relationship. Dolphins are not delivering. We haven't won a division since 2008, whatever. And I kind of detached. I'm like, you know what, bro? You have a good job. Your life is looking real good right now. Why are you letting this one section of your life like deteriorate everything else? So I like, you know what? I'm gonna detach. And this was, I want to say pre-Tannehill, like right pre-Tannehill days. I'm like, nah, man, I'm a cool out. I'm gonna relax. I'm not gonna let this team bother me. And then I think I got a little bit more serious in the Adam Gase Tannehill days, where we started off 4-2 in back-to-back seasons. Playoffs where we're talking about. I'm like, nah, bro, this is a pretty good team. You had the Kenny Still, Parker, and Landry combination that should have been successful. And then 2 seasons back to back, I want to say the last 3 games of each season we crumbled and didn't even make the playoffs. Or maybe we made the playoffs once. We played Pittsburgh, I think, and we lost. But it was like, yo, the collapse at the end of the season. And I just seen something recently. I think the past 4 seasons, we lost week 17 by like crazy numbers. It's like, you know what I'm saying?
It's bad. So I didn't mean to inject, but I'll mention it as well. But it's like,
yeah,
that Titans lost where we needed to win,
right.
Got completely blown out. I think we lost to Buffalo one year. Obviously, there's the Ravens, and there's someone else. I'll try and find it just to
So hold on. I think we could do the math ourselves. Let's just think about this. The the Buffalo massacre where we were supposed to get in the playoffs, where Buffalo wasn't playing for anything, and the Dolphins were about to get in the playoffs. It was Bobby McCain. I like, oh, we're gonna make the playoffs. We just gotta beat Buffalo. Buffalo gonna sit people, and then they spanked us. That was one. Then the Titans, when it was playing in the rain. Shout out to Kevin Dern. Kevin Dern was at the game, and it was turns out to be Brian Flores' last game as the Miami Dolphins head. Oh wait, I think we played one more game after that, didn't we? Did we not?
I thought
Did we play the Patriots after that? I thought we played the Patriots after that. But anyway, so I almost called it Brian Flores' last game. But we lost to the Titans. And, obviously, if you win that game, you make the playoffs. And I think everybody, and that was the thing. We went on a 7-game winning streak or 8-game win streak that year. And then we had like a 7-game losing streak that year. So everybody was putting it on that game as, oh, this is it right here. But it's not. You had a 7-game losing streak, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like any one of those games was it, right? So you had that. Then you had, what was last season? Last season, week 17.
See, I thought it might have been the Green Bay game where Tua gets injured, but I think that's week 16.
Oh, it could have been. It could have been. But could have been. That's a good guess. Could have been. And then obviously you had week 17 this year, which just passed, which was against Baltimore. So
if not, so
apparently the past 4 years, week 17s have been like unkind to the Miami Dolphins. But go ahead, Kadeem.
Well, I was gonna say if it's not the Green Bay game, I think it's Patriots. So I think Tua gets injured Green Bay Christmas Day. I want to say we play the Patriots the week after.
I got it. It is the Patriots. We lose 21-23. We lost to the Patriots.
Yeah. So obviously it's not an embarrassing defeat, but 4 week 17s in a row to lose. And again, to go back to that Brian Flores season where we lose to the Titans, and everyone was like, the Dolphins don't make the playoffs because of that game, and Tua can't win in December and he needs to go. I think us on this podcast, you can go back and listen to it. We were like, yo, the Dolphins started off well. Tua got injured, lost a bunch of games. Tua came back, had to win a bunch of games. Essentially, every single week was if you lose, you're out of the playoffs. Won all those games to put them in a position where they need to beat Tennessee, and then it's pouring down with rain. Brian Flores says we're going to throw the ball over and over again, and the Dolphins lose. And was like, yes, on Tua's fault because he can't win meaningful games. Just ignore all the other ones. So yeah, week 17 has been a massive curse for the Dolphins the past 4 years, which again goes back to, shout out to IMAX. He says, Happy New Year, fellas, and chat. Hate to be a Debbie Downer, but if we don't win Saturday, we're losing the first round game badly. And I can understand that logic and that thought process because the Dolphins, in my lifetime of a Dolphins fan, and I guess further back, whenever things get really, really good, there's always a massive jump off a cliff after. And I just think, I can understand why anyone thinks that there's no hope against Buffalo. And once you lose that and you have to go to Kansas City, there's no hope against Kansas City. So, essentially the season ended last week.
Real quick, I will say this before someone listening on the podcast says, oh, it wasn't raining that hard. You said pouring down rain. So, we gotta make sure you're accurate, you know what I'm saying? Because there's people at the game. You feel me? And then I think we had a couple friends at the game. I think Kevin Dern was there. I think King of Finland was there. I think I had a couple other friends at the game that were there. But listen, Dalvin Cook is on the market. We're not going to spend too much time on this, but it should be touched. It should be addressed. How you feel about, well, he's not on the market yet, but word on the street was he was going to get cut by the paper planes so he can go play for a contender. If he did get cut or would get cut or does get cut, would you have any interest?
So we've got a source that says that Raheem Mostert is more injured than we initially feared. And I think if that is the case, I'd at the very least bring him in, see what he looks like. For all the talent that Devon and Chris Brooks and Jeff Wilson have, I think adding a Dalvin Cook could be really, really useful. I know there's a lot of people who are like, don't bring him in because of cap issues, blah, blah. That's next season. Like this season, the Dolphins are fine for cap. They can bring in Dalvin Cook at like the league minimum. So I think a lot of it is very dependent on how bad Raheem Mostert is injured. If he's injured enough that he's probably going to miss the next 2 weeks, I would bring in Dalvin Cook. If he's fine that he's going to play the next 2 weeks, I would not bring in Dalvin Cook. He had his chance to join us. It is what it is. He missed out. He can go kick rocks with no shoes on.
So I think Raheem Mostert has a rib injury and a toe injury, and I think I seen a play where he got his rib hurt, but it's not for sure. But it was a big D lineman landing on him, and he popped back up like nothing happened. But he looked straight to the sideline and went off. I'm like, oh yeah, I know he felt that. You know what I'm saying? So Raheem Mostert sounds like he may be a little more banged up than we initially thought, especially what Coach McDaniel thought, because McDaniel thought he was going to go on Sunday. But Devon Achane is banged up. That only leaves Jeff Wilson Jr. and Chris Brooks. That's just not enough. So you're probably going to start talking to people anyway. It's a conversation. Do I have to have Dalvin Cook? Nah, I don't, but you still need bodies. You can't go into a postseason with 1.5 running backs or 1 2.5 running backs. So, man, listen, there was something I wanted to bring up, which was the playoffs. And with the playoffs, I'm going to just simplify everything. You just got to win Sunday. That is it. You win Sunday, you're the 2 seed. So before I go into this little soliloquy about, oh, this happens, that happens, I want everybody to understand all you got to do is win Sunday. You secure the 2 seed. All right. Now, there are different scenarios where some interesting things can happen where you beat Buffalo, but you still have to play Buffalo in the first round of the playoffs in Miami. So it's back-to-back home games for Miami against the same opponent. That is a possibility, and it is a very strong possibility. If Jacksonville or Pittsburgh loses and Miami wins, then you play Buffalo back-to-back weeks in Miami. Very real possibility. You have the Ravens. They secure the 1 seed. Are they playing starters or not? Mike Tomlin defeated Seattle 17 seasons of consecutive non-losing seasons. I guess I should have worded that a little bit better. Without a losing season, I should say. 17 seasons without a losing season. My thing is, Huntley is a good enough quarterback to get a win. So, yeah, Pittsburgh is playing for their playoff life, but Huntley's just not a bad quarterback. So, here's the scenario where if you lose, I want to be very clear. If the Dolphins lose this Sunday, they go to Kansas City, no questions asked. It's a wrap. You're going to be the 6th seed, and you're going to Kansas City. Not only are you going to Kansas City, Kadeem, you're most likely going to Baltimore after that. If you get past that gauntlet, you're most likely going to Buffalo after that. So I just want to be clear. Unless the Dolphins have some desire to go on the hardest road to the Super Bowl in the history of the NFL, that is what we're looking at. So if you lose to Buffalo, you go to KC, probably go to Baltimore, probably go to Buffalo again. If you win, another option is you defeat Buffalo. And if Jacksonville defeats Tennessee, which is very possible, the game is at Tennessee for clarification. And Pittsburgh beats Baltimore, which is possible because we don't know what Baltimore is doing. I just don't think it's likely. So we'll see what happens. Then Buffalo's not even in the playoffs. So it's not all bad. You got the 2 seed, and then you play Pittsburgh at home. You have Pittsburgh at home, and then Kansas City probably comes to you because you're the 2 seed. So you got Pittsburgh at home, you got Kansas City at home, and then you go on the road for the rematch against Baltimore. Like, yo, y'all took our lunch money multiple times, and we got to get back. So things look a little different. There's hope. You see what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, the common denominator, you have to win Sunday, Kadeem.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, it's a really easy decision for Miami, or it should be an easy decision, even though it's not kind of in their hands. Win on Sunday, win the AFC East, hopefully not Buffalo at the playoffs. But that's not the only easy decision that the Dolphins have. And I guess us as Miami Dolphins fans, and especially here in Go Time Dolphins, there are plenty of easy decisions. Like, if you found $100 bill on the ground, you wouldn't walk past it. So don't pass up on a chance at easy cash with my bookie. MyBookie has the biggest online selection of odds and contests to fill all your sports betting needs, anytime, anywhere, so you can turn that sports knowledge into cash in your wallet. Bet on the NFL, college bowl games, or play for a share of big cash prizes in the weekly blackjack tournaments. If you've been waiting for the right time to get in on the action, that time is now. Make your winning move today. Sign up at MyBookie, use promo code GOTIME, and claim your deposit match redeemable up to $1,000. Again, that's promo code GOTIME to claim your bonus. Experience the thrill of sports betting right from the comfort of your home. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. A few more comments I haven't got around to yet. So following on from IMAX being a Debbie Downer, Robert Ashton says, I'm still a believer and I will always believe it's not over. Happy New Year. IMAX says, I want to believe, but I don't want to get my hopes up. I'll be pleasantly surprised if we win. There's another comment, but I want to get to that later. IMAX says, playoffs. Jim Moore of a senior voice. Just kidding.
And I'll just finish it. It's playoffs? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game. And that is never been more real than right now.
100%. Robert Ashton says, beat those 3 teams and then win a Super Bowl. What a better way to silence every critic possible. Sounds like a very Dolphins thing to do. And be even better could be on Hard Knocks, just going through that week after week after week. And Franklin Stubbs says, good evening, Fins Up. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Franklin, and to all our Go Time Dolphin fans and listeners.
Listen, on the playoff scenario, real quick, I'm gonna be a little transparent. I'm gonna be real with you, and I'm gonna tip my pick. I do not believe, and I want to say this. Sunday, I'm going to watch the game for the game. Let's see what happens. Let's see what we get. Let's see the outcome. Let's see how we show up. And it's crazy, Kadeem, because the same way, and this is not a back and forth, we had that. Oh, turns out, Kadeem, Tua got hurt with 8 minutes left, not 5 minutes or 4 minutes. He got hurt with 8 minutes left. That's a whole different ball game, bro. 3 touchdowns, 8 minutes, 3 timeouts. Bro, I need my quarterback in there to see if we can win the game. But anyway, my thing is about this game coming up. We're going to the playoffs. So if we're down 21 again, Kadeem, with let's just say 6 minutes, are we going to pull people? You see what I'm saying? Like, at what point do we say, oh, we got another game we got to worry about? Like, at what point do we say, well, this game's not important? I don't know the answer to that question. It's kind of rhetorical, but it's a real question. Like, what happens if we go down big? At what point do we pull people? Or do we say, nah, we need to come back? You see what I'm saying? But here nor there, I will say this. I'm watching this game Sunday, hoping for the best for sure. Dolphin fan Charlie, I want to see my team come out, put up a fight. Easy money, Charlie, like that bets on games and uses his rational mind. I would not bet on this game with your money, Kadeem. Like, ain't no way. you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, ain't no way. You know what I'm saying? And I want to be clear. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. It is a tough task to ask this Dolphins team to beat Buffalo twice, even if it is at home. So the chances and the likelihood of the Dolphins beating Buffalo twice is just not good. Just the rational Charlie Touche. It's going to be tough. I don't see how it gets done. Same way I didn't see how it got done against Buffalo. I don't see how we win this game. I don't see how you beat Buffalo twice. All right. So can you go grind out a win? Sure, hopefully. maybe you get some help from a couple other teams like Pittsburgh and Jacksonville, and then you don't see a first round game against Buffalo. But you can't have that mindset. You got to go. You got to beat the opponent, and if you don't, we'll be going to KC. Cold weather game, in a game that I think we win, by the way. And I'll just say that part. I do think we beat KC at KC, and I think we beat KC wherever. We're going to beat them home or away. I'm not worried about KC, but this next game is going to tell you how much we got left in the tank.
Yeah, definitely. Robert Ashton says, I don't think McDaniel will ever pull players when behind. I'm only basing it on the clip of him from Hard Knocks. And yeah, do you know what? If you haven't seen it yet, and be like Charlie or anyone listening or watching on YouTube, there's a clip of Alec Ingold after the Ravens game. And he's asked about the Bradley Chubb injury and all that kind of stuff. And Alec Ingold, I'm going to butcher what he says, so I apologize. Go check it out for yourself. It is amazing. But he basically says, essentially, he would never want to get pulled from a game because if he plays and trains like every snap is like an absolute blessing. And yeah, I feel like that's the best way I can put it. I know Charlie can put it in an even better way, and Alec Ingold puts it absolutely perfectly. So, Charlie, all yours.
Well, you put pressure on me, so I'm not even going to attempt now. But I will just defer to the actual Alec Ingold clip and tell everyone to watch it. In essence, he says, nobody wants to get pulled no matter how far we're down. And we want to, and I sent this in a group chat, the terminology. I said, you win with the team and you lose with the team. And there's teams, maybe in college, maybe not so much NFL. You actually don't see it that much in the NFL unless it's a wide margin. But there's teams in college and where you might be losing by, let's just call it 17, and you're down, and it's 3 minutes left. You're down 17. Quarterback stays in there, and people are like, well, this game's over. So whether you're down 17 or 7D, he's still in there, and the game's over. But why is he in there with down 17? You see what I'm saying? And it's unrealistic to come back. So, and there's just a phrase: you win with the team, you lose with the team. So don't be a quarterback and the game's over, and then you're not even on the field no more, and your team is trying to make up for you. You know what I'm saying? And to simplify some things, McDaniel has to be responsible and say, well, I'm looking out for your well-being. You know what I'm saying? Same way as a parent would say, well, I'm looking out for you. I have to protect yourself. I have to protect you, all the good stuff. So I want to be on the record and say, I do not think the starters should have been out there when Chubb was injured, but I do think the starters should have been out there when Tua was injured. That's all I'm going to say. And now it's up for everyone else to have their own opinion about when do you pull people, because if you're not going to pull them at 8 minutes down, 3 touchdowns, 3 timeouts, but you will pull them with, we'll call it down 30 with 2 minutes, there's still in the middle somewhere. And then another thing I told LB, you never seen people get pulled in the middle of a drive. It's always, all right, next drive they're coming out. You know what I'm saying? So you just never know when what the plan really was. It's just unfortunate. It's heartbreaking. I want to say this on this side of bonus time, because we're about to get out of here unless Kadeem got something. Hey, we had a giveaway. We're not going to be able to make the giveaway today. We're running low on time. We started late. Still got the giveaway coming up. But everyone went straight to 20K Cam when Eli Apple wet the bed again. And everybody went straight to 20K Cam. And everybody's like, oh, Dolphins, 20K Cam got to be better than this. You know what I'm saying? We got to do this. And I'm be real with you, Kadeem. It has only been 4 years that Tua has been on this football team. Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
So that draft class had Tua, Noah, and Austin Jackson. I'm sorry. Friend of the podcast. Noah's not even on the team no more, and he's probably not going to pan out in the NFL. He's a bust, right? And Noah got thrown in the fire, went up against Stephon Diggs and Julian Edelman and Adam Thielen his first 3 games. It was, or first 3 or 4 games. It was crazy, right? And McDaniel has come out and said, at that position, at the cornerback position, you just got to be careful with how much you give someone early on in their career, because it's kind of basically gonna create a mind state for them, right? So you want to be protective of it. And for everyone who argue when Tua had Flores as a coach, Tua questioned himself. Like, yo, am I even any good? You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't even get built up properly to have the mind state of, you know what, I'm gonna overcome this. You know what? He had doubt himself. So I wonder, at what point did Tua doubt himself in the Flores regime? At what point did Noah doubt himself? And the critics were pretty loud about Austin Jackson. I wonder if he ever doubted himself. You know what I'm saying? So I want to say this on air. I don't agree with 20K Cam not seeing snaps yet, like significant snaps yet, because he's on my Touche 24. I think he can handle it. But I'm proud that the Dolphins did not waver, because the same way people will get on the Dolphins for not playing rookies early, they will get on him if he doesn't pan out early. Like, oh, this dude's a bust. He's a bust. So you can't call him a bust because he played 2 games and he got beat 2 games and he's still learning the ropes. But then try to say, well, he's not playing enough. So I'm proud that the Dolphins have stuck to their guns, and shout out to Hunter Long when he dropped the pass in preseason. And this is on the record. I forgot what I think Mike Gesicki said this. Hunter Long dropped the pass in preseason and he was back on the sideline, and he just looked like his career was over. This is what Mike Gesicki says. Mike Gesicki like, yo, I looked at Hunter and he was just detached from the game. Like, this is it. I blew it. You know what I'm saying? Career's over. And you know, Flores is his coach. So it's just there's no confidence instilled in that regime, apparently. So Mike Gesicki tried to come over and crack a joke to Hunter Long, like, and like it was off topic, not about the game. And Hunter Long was just not receiving it. Like, he was just, nah, I'm gone. And then so Mike Gesicki can finally be like, bro, just forget it, bro. It's one catch. It's one game. You get it back. I thought that the world ended for me when I was a rookie. For everyone who doesn't remember, everybody got on Mike Gesicki as well when he was a rookie, right? Oh, why we get draft this guy? Then he became, in my opinion, the best hands on the team. And suddenly, you wonder if he had the best hands on the team when you see your receivers dropping passes lately, right? I'm just saying that, put that out there. I still believe Gesicki had the best hands on the team. But anyway, I said all that to say everyone thinks about the physical ability of the game when it comes to rookies and players and stuff, but they don't think about the mental ability and inabilities. So I am proud of the Dolphins, and I applaud the Dolphins for sticking to their guns when the mob is calling for 20K Cam. And if he pans out to be a big deal, cool. And if he pans out to be a bust, then they'll get it when he's a bust from me. But I applaud them for sticking to their guns with it.
Yeah, I think on the 20K Cam stuff, there's an element of, you know, like you said, not throwing anyone under the bus in certain situations. The way that game was going and the way Lamar Jackson was cooking, would it really have been smart to say to Cam Smith, hey, go in there and try and slow this down? Because Cam Smith is, you saw in practice in preseason and in the preseason games and stuff, he's a very instinctive player and he would try and jump routes. You know, Lamar Jackson was dotting up Jalen Ramsey and Fender Podcast, Javon Holland, and anyone else on that defense who have had so much more significant years in the NFL. So there's that. Second of all, again, Hard Knocks, where you see Javon Holland, friends of the podcast, Javon Holland and Brandon Jones talking about learning the Vic Fangio defense. It does sound like this is something which there's nothing wrong if he's still trying to adapt and learn this defense, because again, Eli Apple and Duke Riley for that, is it Zay Flowers 75-yard touchdown?
Yeah.
Miscommunication wasn't there. So you're asking again, Cam Smith to go in there, having not played much this season, and say, hey, it's week 17, try and make a play. So shout out to that. And before I hand back over to you on bonus time, if you're not watching on YouTube and you're listening on Apple, Spotify, whatever it is, go to YouTube, because what I'm about to show you right now is something which Charlie's going to say, Kadeem, why'd you do this for? So earlier on, I'm shaving my head, electric razor, all that kind of stuff. mid-shave, it dies on me. I'm charging my razor right now, but I haven't finished my trim. Charlie, I'm going to. I think I haven't seen this yet. Jordan has seen this, and Shaq has seen this, so I haven't seen this yet. But they were busting up when they saw this. So I'm going to show you live on YouTube, everyone. I still haven't seen this yet. So the front is okay. You can see it's not that bad. I kind of got the front.
It's not bad.
It's the back. Hold on. Legitimately, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it yet. So yeah, it's not
Well, you'll see it now when you play this back.
It's not a lifestyle choice. I'm not trying anything new. It's just my razor died and I hadn't finished shaving my head. So if you're not watching on YouTube, you need to go and see this apparently, because it got Charlie laughing. It's got Mr. Fanatic in the chat is laughing. Yeah, I need to finish shaving my head when it's all said and done.
Pretty humbling by Kadeem. Shout out to Kadeem for being the expense of our laughter. Y'all know what time it is, man. Come on over to bonus time with us. Stay positive. Test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time.
So Robert Ashton says, keep it casual, it makes you look dangerous. I saw a glimpse of it. Yeah, it doesn't make me I think Jordan said it looked like a sideways version of B. Baracus from the A-team. So yeah, there is that. But IMAX, you got anything for bonus time? Because there's a question here from IMAX, which we didn't answer, and I thought it'd be good to address it now.
No, I don't. What I did have, it could be used any given day, honestly. But I just want to reiterate that Lamar Jackson only had 3 incomplete passes and 5 touchdowns.
Absolutely insane.
Robert Ashton pities the fool, by the way.
Dofan Dan says, nice jam, y'all. So IMAX asked earlier, are there any available offensive linemen or defensive players? And there's 4 that spring to mind immediately. 2 of those have been signed already, 2 on each side of the ball. So offensive linemen, both Lyle Collins is back with Dallas. He was someone who the Dolphins looked at. Was it the year they signed Teron Armstead?
It was the year they signed Teron Armstead, because Amari Cooper, it appeared to be the Dolphins had interest in Amari Cooper and they had interest in Lyle Collins. But the contract talks didn't work out with the Cowboys. Actually, they were in bed with each other, and the contracts were the holdup. So imagine this team could have had Amari Cooper and Lyle Collins. That's crazy. I think we wouldn't have had Cedric Wilson. I don't remember the timeline of when we got Cedric Wilson, but dang, that's crazy. If we would have had Amari Cooper, Tyreek Hill, and Waddle, we wouldn't have had Teron Armstead, and we probably wouldn't have had a couple other, probably maybe not Bradley Chubb. If I had to think, we probably wouldn't have Bradley Chubb.
That does sound about right. But yeah, Collins ended up joining the Bengals. He got released. He was available. He's now back in Dallas. And then the other one, and I guess it's not major significant, but Roger Saffold just signed with someone. He got released by the Jets. I don't know where he is now. So that's 2 offensive linemen. But the 2 defensive linemen, Frank Clark and Justin Houston. Charlie, do you have any interest in bringing them in for at the very least a workout, or sign them, given that obviously Bradley Chubb is out for the rest of the season?
I don't know what the timeline looked like when it came to releasing JPP and bringing in Melvin Ingram. I think we released JPP for bringing in Melvin Ingram. I think, again, I don't remember what that timeline looked like,
And
but
that's
go ahead.
so we released JPP to bring up some of the practice squad. Someone came off IR, and that's when we brought in. That's when we released JPP, and then we brought in Melvin Ingram like a few days after.
Right. So either way, I'm saying I think we released JPP before we brought in Melvin Ingram is what I was really trying to get at. So I like Melvin Ingram, bro. I really do. And I'll pivot to answer your question. You bring in whoever you got to bring in. If you believe in them, you got to bring them in. I don't have enough for Clark or Houston to, I don't know. But the bigger conversation is Emmanuel Ogbah, because Emmanuel Ogbah was a healthy scratch. And I'm going to put my neck out there. He was a healthy scratch against Baltimore. No one knew why he wasn't dressed. It surprised him. He said wow on Twitter. But now he's going to be playing, obviously. Here's my thing, Kadeem. I'm going to say this in public. I think Emmanuel Ogbah was on the way to being Russell Wilson, bro. I think we were going to protect ourselves from injury of Emmanuel Ogbah so we could release him in the offseason. And it's like, dang, bro, why would you not dress this dude? And I think they were of the mindset, unless we need him, we'll play him. But if not, we do not want to have a situation like Byron Jones last year, where we had to pay him like, I think $15 million, and he had an injury clause, and then it carried over to a whole nother season, and it got real messy. And I think they try to protect themselves this time against a player they may not have kept in the future. We'll never know now. But we're going to need Emmanuel Ogbah to show up for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So JPP was released. We activated Chris Brooks off injured reserve. That's who it was. We then brought in Melvin Ingram to the practice squad. I think if he gets activated off the practice squad this week, it'll be the third week in a row, meaning we can't put him back on the practice squad. So we'll have to sign him. So you might see someone get released, but that's a whole nother issue. Frederick Dunlap says bring them both in, Houston and Clark. And yeah, I think we're obviously going to need Emmanuel Ogbah. I do agree with you in terms of the Russell Wilson thing and the comparison there. The Dolphins brought in a bunch of people this week. Most of them I've basically never heard of. So they're obviously looking at players. People reckon that's more like an end of season thing for like future contracts and stuff like that. But I just think the Dolphins are so banged up right now that, there's an argument to be made that bringing in someone who hasn't played for a few weeks, if at all this season, and asking them to be a significant factor or a contributing factor in a playoff game is asking a lot. But when we get to next week, you're one and done. You got to do every single thing you can to try and essentially go 1-0 every single week. And I just think that someone like Frank Clark or Justin Houston, and I think definitely Justin Houston, I think could be a major addition to this Dolphins team. If you're looking at the pass rushers, essentially being Angie Van Ginkel, Emmanuel Ogbah, Melvin Ingram, and it's Cameron Good still around.
Yeah, but he's like a 7th round practice squad player. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't
Exactly.
expect nothing from him. You don't expect nothing from Cameron Good. If you hoping for something from Cameron Good, you need to bring in Clark and Houston at the same time. Here's my thing, and I'll this is the last thing I got. Losing to Baltimore has nothing to do with injuries. We cannot blame injuries on the Baltimore game, because Baltimore was just as banged up as us. And we were losing players, they were losing players. So losing the injuries in the Baltimore game, irrelevant. However, moving forward, if you are saying you have the same expectations from the Miami Dolphins next week and the week after, like you did 3 weeks ago, you're lying to yourself. because we're not the same team that we were 3 weeks ago on paper. So injuries moving forward, it's not an excuse, but it is definitely a reason why we're no longer expecting greatness from this team. So it is a real thought that, we're not the same team. We're too banged up moving forward. And that's why I have to, I don't know, bro. It's going to be tough. And I don't have the same expectations. I said we were going to the Super Bowl this year. It's going to be real tough, bro. I'm not giving up, but that looks, the forecast for that 2 weeks ago looked way better than this. So we're losing players by the game, and it's discouraging.
Yeah, definitely. I'll end on this. Acquaintance of the podcast, Josh Kasker from the Same My Dolphin show, tweeted months ago. Like I think it was during the bye week when we get all these players back, and everyone was like, Dolphins are going to go on this massive run, all the good stuff. And he basically tweeted, "It's one thing, getting players back, great, but can this team stay healthy? That's going to be the true test of this team." And you put it perfectly. It sucks to say, but right now, as Dolphin fans, we need to, at the very least, rethink our expectations of the Miami Dolphins in Week 18 of the 2023 season. This isn't the team with Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Jalen Waddle 100%, Tyreek Hill 100%, Connor Williams, friend of the podcast. It's not that team no more. You're going to be going, hopefully not on the road, but you're entering the playoffs team, or entering the playoffs with essentially 2 starting offensive linemen. One of them can be banged up every single week, or 1.5 of your 2 starting wide receivers, maybe down your starting running back, down both your starting defensive ends. Essentially, 1.5 safety. Defend the podcast of Von Holland isn't the same at the moment due to the injuries. You're down Jerome Baker, no matter what you think of him. Chances are you're not going to see Xavier Howard, which is another conversation as it is. Eli Apple is trash. Like you just have to accept that this team might be one done in the playoffs. You're going to get a load of abuse on Twitter from people saying, "You told me Super Bowl," all that kind of stuff. But there's nothing wrong with saying, "Hey, the injury bug got."
My bad. I ain't gonna lie. I can't say we're gonna be one and done yet. I'm not built that way. I can't say it. I can't say that. I'm just saying my expectations changed a little bit. I'm not just all I'm saying. I seen something and I cut you off. My bad. I seen something that said Miami Dolphins injuries are a Pro Bowl team right now. That's crazy. Like Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, Xavier Howard, Jalen Waddle. That is crazy, bro. So yeah, that's wild. But I'm not following no sword yet. I'm just saying I don't have the same expectation. That's all I'm saying. But let's get up out of here, bro. And remind me to tell you what I think about Chase Claypool next episode, cliffhanger. But just remind me to bring it up on the next episode, Chase Claypool.
If there's a reason to come back on Friday for our Buffalo Bills preview, there it is. We shall see you on the next one. Peace.